You know, they say practice makes perfect, and they weren't just saying that because there are two P's in there and it sounds good. It's really true, and I think if you're not checking out the practice mode in Pokemon Unite, you're really missing out. You need to practice.
Practice? I don't need to practice. I'm already the best there is.
Okay, Hotshot, how'd you do in your last game?
We lost by 500 points. But that was our Snorlax's fault.
Alright then, who was playing Snorlax?
I was the Snorlax.
Sounds like it's time to check out practice mode, handsome.
Okay, other Jake, you're right. Tell me about practice mode.
I will. And remember, I love you.
I love you too.
You're handsome and people like you.
Stop it.
If you haven't spent time on this screen taking a look at your Pokemon and their moves, you really should. You could do this for any Pokemon you own and those you don't. You can also head on over to the practice area. Inside here, you can open up the Pokemon's progression, and you can see when they evolve. But for this video, we're going to the practice area with Gardevoir. Oh my god, I almost forgot to say yeehaw. Yeehaw! Okay, here we are. Inside here, you can open up the battle prep screen, and you have a little more time than you would if you were inside of a game. This gives you a chance to look at all of your held items that you might want to put on this Pokemon. There's another section for that on the main menu as well, but you can do it here in the practice area. You can change up your items to bring something different into the practice area and see how much more damage you do. You can also play around with different battle items. I would recommend bringing the eject button in just so you can mess around with that and get used to how far it lets you travel. After you select your character, you select an opposing Pokemon, but don't worry, they're basically doing nothing in there. And then the match starts. The practice area is a great place to test out your moves, figure out their ranges, but also there are more things you can play around with that's probably easier to do when you're in an environment like the practice area. For instance, you can head into your settings. Inside here, you can change your controls. For instance, right here, there's lock-on priority. Maybe you want it to be lowest remaining HP value or lowest remaining HP percent or closest. Here you can change between default controls and advanced controls. I would recommend advanced. They're pretty basic. It just means you hit wild Pokemon with B. You can turn on and off your basic attack automation. You can turn your boosted attack gauge on. You can turn your lock-on icon on. Your in-motion pursuit distance. I turn that off personally. You can change scoring controls from hold to press. I highly recommend press. Camera follows moves, I think should be on. Move aim follows movement on. Move aim snaps to nearby target, I have off. But all of these you can start playing with, and you can see what you like inside the game. I also have my aim assist off. Jeez, I must be pretty darn good. Once you're in, you don't just have to play a regular match either. Going down to practice options, you can level your Pokemon as many times as you want. You can turn off and on wild Pokemon, you can make yourself invincible, you can have move cooldowns, you can decide whether the opposing Pokemon is going to attack you or not. I often use this with a Pokemon I'm not familiar with, or if there are moves that I just don't often take on a Pokemon and I want to try them more. For instance, I love seeing the range of everything, especially since I play a lot of attackers when I'm not playing support every single game because no one picks support and I'm always filling support. What is happening? Why does no one play support? Sorry, where was I? Ah yes, here you can see me turning my move cooldowns off and making myself invincible. This way I can play around with the range of Future Sight here, which is pretty incredible. And if I want, I can cast it like 1,000 times in a row. Oh, look at it go. Take that, you silly buffalo. No, I'm chasing you. Got him. It only took 10. You also get to see how much damage exactly your moves are doing by heading up to one of these training dummies. So you can attack it with your basics here, and you can see, oh, if I hit with 6 basic attacks, I do, hey, slow down, Jay, okay, 10 basics. If I hit with 10 basic attacks, I do 3,381 damage. That's pretty interesting at level 10 also. The level you're at changes it. Let's see, my Moonblast does 933 damage. Okay, and if you just wait a second, it will reset, and you can see how much damage your Future Sight does. Ah, 1,870 damage. Pairing that with my Moonblast. Maybe I want to see how much damage I do when I hit with my Unite move, my Future Sight, and my Moonblast all together. 6,000 damage even. Wow, I actually didn't expect it was going to be an even number. 6,000 damage even! This mode also might help you recognize timing of things in maps. For instance, you notice that Rotom and Dreadnought both spawn at the 7-minute mark. Maybe when you're in a game, especially if you're first starting out, you don't notice that that's exactly when that happens every time. You can also start toying around with respawn timers and seeing what Pokemon can solo enemy Pokemon, which means which one of your Pokemon can take out a larger objective Pokemon all by themselves. Just think that it's probably not a good idea to over-level yourself when you try to figure that out, and also you're going to want to turn move cooldowns back on because being able to cast Future Sight 50 times in a row isn't really a good representation of who can solo what. You also get to play around with things like this in a map. Have you ever wondered how slow you go when you're behind an enemy's goal? Or how long it actually takes you to score when you have 35 Aeos energy? Perhaps you want to decide when the best time to put your Aeos energy into the goal is. For example, right now you have 43 Aeos energy. You deposit it in this goal that had 45 left, and now it has 2 remaining. If you happen to let this goal sit there until the last 2 minutes of the game and someone could walk right up and dunk on it, you would have that goal give you an extra 100 points basically. 98 points, I guess, to be exact. That's called over-dunking. At least I think it's called over-dunking. And now you can see when that Dreadnought comes back, 3 minutes 54 seconds or so, and you knock this Dreadnought out at about 5 minutes 54 seconds. So every 2 minutes this Dreadnought spawns. Just something that you find out using this mode. Here's something that I think is valuable to get good at, but you might not want to waste the time in game. Play around with your voice commands and calling out things on the map. You can pull the minimap up using the minus button and press A somewhere on the map to alert your team. You can also work on getting better at letting your allies know where you're going. Tell them to retreat, let them know your Unite move's ready, or that you're headed to the central area. Time for that Zapdos fight! And just like all the other objectives, this is a good time to find out whether or not your Pokemon is any good at soloing Zapdos, or perhaps just stealing that last hit. And maybe it'll give you time to understand what Zapdos does when it's fighting. So if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend spending a little time in practice mode. It actually really helps, especially someone like me who wants to at least have 1 or 2 Pokemon in every role that they're very comfortable with. And if you don't know what an enemy is doing, this is a great time to figure out what is happening with that kit. Maybe you don't want to play Lucario, you just want to know what is happening when you are fighting one. Head into practice mode with Lucario. Try him out so you can understand what's going on. I hope this guide helped. Thank you all so much, and I will see you on the battlefield. I will be the one trying to solo a Zapdos with a Gardevoir, and then getting it stolen by a computerized Lucario. Goodbye, everybody. Mwah. Extra yeehaw for good measure. Yeehaw!